So, hello everyone. Today I wanted to talk about the vehicle commander situational awareness. So we're gonna start with German tanks and then move progressively with vehicles of another nations available in the Steel Beasts Pro PE simulation. Some vehicles are not fully modeled yet, so we will only talk about their TC situational awareness, comparing the design of their commander's cupola comparable to other vehicles that are fully modeled. Okay, so let's start with the Leopard 1. Here is the Leopard 1A5. So this was the last most advanced variant used by the German Bundeswehr. So let's move to the commander station. Let's move a bit outside first. So what we can see here is a typical Leopard 1 TC cupola. His periscope, a very simple device for its times, and especially today. So the TC cupola have several periscopes. These periscopes are not very large, they're quite small, but still they provide quite good visibility. The problem is that due to their small size and their placement, they do not cover full 360 degrees around the vehicle on their own. So the visibility is a bit limited. It's not bad, it's not great either. Of course, the TC can look through the open hatch. However, all Leopard 2 tanks do not have open protected position for their hatches. So if the hatch is being closed, the TC have no capability to slightly open it, lock it safely, and have an open protected position. In theory, it is possible by simply unlocking the hatch and raising it, but the hatch won't be locked then, and during the movement it can move, open, close, even hit the commander in the head. The hatch was not designed for this. So besides this, of course, TC have its periscope. The problem is that this periscope can only rotate in horizontal plane. It cannot look upward or downward. It doesn't have such capability at all. So the Leopard 1 is in that regard, it is in the step in the right direction, but it's not perfect. It has some design solutions that are not very good, like the parry. The parry itself is quite simple device with certain limitations. Okay, so let's move to the other vehicles, more modern ones. Leopard 2A4. So the hatch design of the commander cupola is quite similar. So it can't be open protected position. However, the periscopes are a bit larger and they provide a bit better visibility around the vehicle. However, it's still not perfect. The periscopes are not placed closer to each other, so they do not perfectly cover their visibility arcs. Besides this, the parry of the TC is in between frontal periscope and the first right periscope, So here is a bit of a blind spot for the close range visibility, but it's covered by the Perry. The Perry here is better. It doesn't have the night vision mode of any kind, but it is traversable, and it have elevation angles. So it's definitely better than on the Leopard 1, and provide the TC with superior target detection and identification during the day. This is the Leopard 2A4. Leopard 2A5. So here it's a bit changed. The Perry was moved to the rear. Its periscopes are the same size roughly, but they kind of provide a bit better all-around visibility for the TC. The day channel for the Perry still take a bit of space here in between periscopes, but the TC have a day channel and a separate thermal channel. So in this case, its situational awareness is really good. Okay. The Leopard 2A5, A6, and the German variants of the A7, A7V look pretty much the same like here. However, there are also so-called Leopard 2 improved. So it's the Swedish Leopard 2S, aka Stridsvagn 122. The Spanish Leopard 2E and the Greek Leopard 2 HEL, HEL from Hellenic. So because the turret roof was reinforced, a bit changed. Some periscopes are larger, some are smaller than on the A5, A6 and A7 variants, and they do not provide full 360 degrees visibility. There is a certain blind spots, and the rear periscope only works when the TC hatch is closed. As you can see, that TC hatch is super thick and it closes very slowly. But when it's closed, the rear hatch is functional, the rear periscope, but still, as we can see, there are certain blind spots for this vehicle. The Perry is pretty much the same as on the A5, so nothing new here. So the Leopard 2 series, just like the Leopard 1, have overall quite good or not bad visibility for its commander. Its situational awareness is okayish. It's not perfect, could be better. Of course, the TC have capability to move his head a bit upward, and he have glasses in the upper part of the periscope, so his head is still quite protected from the front, sides, and the rear, and from the top, and he have some a bit better visibility from his cupola. Okay, let's move forward. The M60. The M60 series uses the M19 cupola. This cupola provides kind of good, kind of bad visibility. Kind of good because it have a lot of periscopes, but these periscopes are quite small, so it's not bad, not great either. The front TC periscope is magnified slightly, and it provides quite wide field of view. He have also day and night sights. The cupola can be only closed or only opened, so here is the same limitations as like on the Leopard 1 and Leopard 2 series. So it could be better. Some vehicles were better when the Israeli Urdan cupola was mounted instead of the M19 cupola. Otherwise, it's the vehicle of its times. Okay. The M1A1 series have a pretty good CWS cupola. The cupola have pretty big periscopes, 6 of them. They still do not provide good or very good it's good coverage, but it's not very good coverage of their observation zones. So there are still some small blind spots, but overall that cupola provides quite good visibility. Besides this, the hatch can be opened in open protected positions, so the TC head is protected very well from the upper, from the top, and as we can see, he doesn't have a very good all-around visibility, for which he can even use his binoculars. Of course, this is the older CWS cupola, the commander weapon station, that is unstabilized and have only simple day sight. However, there is also a newer SCWS, the stabilized commander weapon station, which is fully stabilized independently from the turret, and the simple sight was replaced by the new digital CWS-S sight, and also the RTS, the remote thermal sight. So the SCWS cupola can perform tasks of the PERI or CITV. But otherwise, the SCWS and CWS cupola visibility from the periscopes is pretty much the same. Okay, now let's move to the M1A2 SEP. The A2 series of the M1 tank received the new ICWS cupola. This is probably one of the best, if not the best, tank commander cupola in the world, because it has very large 8 periscopes that have nearly no dead zones between the periscopes, thus providing fantastic visibility, 360 degrees around the tank, as we can see. And the cupola itself have the periscopes placed very high, higher than on the other tanks, so the visibility is really good. The TC also can open its hatch in open protected position and have a very good, even better visibility in that position than on the A1 series. And he can use his binoculars to observe the situation all around him, and also he have this CITV, which provides him with thermal sight, 360 degrees observation around the vehicle. Of course, partially obscured by various things on the turret roof, but still the visibility provided by it is very good. Some more modern variants of the M1 have, instead of the pintle mounted M2, also a Cross mounted M2. The Cross is the remote weapon station mounted on top of the gunner primary site doghouse. Okay, let's move forward. British tanks, starting with the Centurion, also including the Conqueror heavy tank and later variants, have a very good Commander Cupola. This vehicle is not playable, but as we can see, the TC have a pair of high magnification periscopes, or kind of binoculars, plus he have a ring of periscopes providing good 360 degrees visibility all around him. So it's pretty good vehicle in that regard. Unfortunately, as I said, it's not playable, not modeled inside, so we can't show how it looked like. Next vehicle is the Chieftain. The Chieftain in its time probably have the best tank commander cupola among all tanks, providing very good visibility all around it. It had a magnified sight, so the TC had a equivalent of the periscope, like on the Leopard ones, and also a remotely controlled MG, and a ring of periscopes providing good 360 degrees visibility. Unfortunately, the Chieftain is not playable again. But as we can see, the cupola is pretty good, and each periscope have a water wiper to clean it. The Challenger 1 tank had exactly the same type of cupola. The Challenger 2 repeats the cupola design from the Chieftain and Challenger 1, although it's a bit redesigned. It does not have a remotely controlled MG. The Challenger 2 interior is not fully modeled yet. However, we can check how it looked like. As you can see, the periscopes are quite small, and there are some blind spots between them. However, they still provide quite good visibility all around. It's worse than the M1A2 cupola, in some ways worse than the M1A1 cupola, but it's not that much worse. It provides quite good visibility. Besides, of course, the TC have its Perry. The Perry is only a day sight. It does not have a thermal sight, so the TC only can have extension view from the gunner thermal sight for night operations. Okay, so this is how it looks like in Challenger 2. The Leclerc, it's non-playable, but we can see how the TC cupola is designed. So the periscopes do not completely encircle his station. There is no rear visibility vision block. There is only a front visibility vision block, 3 left side visibility blocks, 3 right side visibility blocks, plus his rotatable periscope or panoramic sight. That is quite big, so when his hatch is open, his head is sticking out, that periscope is blocking a lot of visibility for him, but it's not that great design. It's not awful. The gunner have also 2 right side visibility periscopes plus a single frontal visibility periscope, but he mainly will be sticking his eyes to the gunner primary side, so he can't help that much to his commander. Now the Soviet tanks. The Soviet tanks, tank commander cupolas, are mostly the same design. So, okay, it's partially modeled, the T55. So if we close the hatch, the TC have 4 periscopes and 9 magnified periscopes. So periscopes here and here provide some visibility. There's some side to rear visibility periscopes, but otherwise he is pretty much blind. There is a lot of rear blind spots, and from the front he can just slightly expose his head because he did not see anything at the front. So either you are fully exposed or either you are fully buttoned up. The magnified periscope is kind of okayish. It doesn't have a lot of elevation upwards, have some elevation downwards. Okay. The T62 cupola is pretty much same design, again partially modeled interior. So again, it's pretty poor visibility all around. The TC is pretty blind, unless he's using his magnified periscope, and again he can't elevate it much. The T64 cupola is pretty much have the same limitations. It have a better front visibility side. It does have the remotely controlled machine gun, but otherwise there are the same limitations. Same in case of the T72. This is the T72B. If the TC is closing his hatch, he either can use his TKN periscope or these simple periscopes. The visibility is quite limited. I don't know if these periscopes are properly modeled. You can see we can only observe the sky. There is no ring of periscopes providing 360 degrees visibility. So with the hatches closed, the crew does not see what is behind them. This also means that this kind of design of a tank is purely for assaults, attacks, and in any other situation their situational awareness is limited, and even in the attack the situational awareness of these tanks is limited. The TADU, not pliable, but as we can see the cupola design is pretty much the same. Front side, the primary one for the commander, 2 periscopes on its sides and 2 periscopes in the hatch cover. And the T90, pretty much the same situation, remotely controlled MG, the primary side, periscope. There is no periscope here. There is a sight for the MG. This is the AA side, plus 2 periscopes in the hatch cover, and that's all from the crew or other TC situational awareness. So it's not very good. It's worse than the Western tanks. And yeah, okay, so I think this is short but I hope quite good presentation of how various cupola designs are affecting the tank commander situational awareness and visibility, and his capabilities to detect targets, detect threats, and react accordingly to that. Okay, so my conclusion is that the M1A2 SEP is having the best cupola design. overall. The A1 variants are the second best. Then the Challenger 2, Challenger 1, the Chieftain, Centurion have the best cupola designs, and then the Leopard 2 variants in the, let's call it the standard, the German standard versions. Okay, so I think that's all. I hope you gonna like that short presentation, and it explains a lot in terms of the crew visibility from inside the tank. So gonna catch you later. See ya.